After after today's academic extravaganza, we move on to the inaugural function of Iracon 2022. I invite President of the IRA, Dr. B.G. Dharmanand, Secretary of IRA, Professor Aman Sharma, the Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Dr. V.P. Pandey, the Secretary of the Organizing Committee, Dr. Ashish Badika, to please come to the dais.
I would also take this opportunity to invite the chief guest of the evening, Dr. Ravi Kannanan. He is a surgical oncologist based in Assam, India, and he is the director of Kachar Cancer Hospital and Research Center. He is the recipient of Padma Shri Award, and I would like to request sir to please come on the dais. And I would also like to invite the guest of honor, Professor Debashish Danda, who is also the scientific chairperson for this year's Iracon.
Thank you. I now hand over to the Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Dr. V.P. Pandey, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening and welcome to this Iracon 22 inaugural function. A scientific feast which we have been observing for last 3 days now is truly working out very well. I will start with a slok. Na chaur haryam, na cha raj haryam, na bhat bhajyam, na bhaskari, vaya krate vardhate nityam, vidya dhanam, sarve dhan pradhanam. Education is the best wealth amongst all. No one can steal it. No one can snatch it. It cannot be divided amongst the brothers also, and it's not heavy to carry. As one consumes or spreads, it increases. As one shares, it expands. Dear all, this is the first time that Indore is witnessing such scientific feast in the field of rheumatology. We are truly honored at being accorded this privilege, and we look forward to welcome all the clinicians, researchers, academicians, and other allied health professionals with an interest in rheumatology in region and beyond. We are certain that your presence will bring together your expertise, your vision, knowledge, and experience will help us consolidate our thoughts and practices and help us to pave the way into the future. We certainly cannot accomplish what we are doing without your support. So I really thank IRA to grant this Iracon to Indore a couple of years back, which we could expedite after 2 years of COVID time. At the same time, we have prepared an interesting social program for all of you, which we are certain will facilitate networking amongst the participants in coming evenings. Science aside, Indore is a wonderful travel destination with perfect weather at present. Everywhere you look, it's a picture of diversity and accomplishment. The foreign delegates will enjoy the delectable cuisine and warm hospitality of our people. Throughout this conference, we request you to keep us proactive, suggest us what else we can do to promote this event, and it will help us to shape the future of rheumatology in our region, that's Madhya Pradesh. My personal thanks go to all of you, to the team which has worked relentlessly for a couple of months, and of course the results are positive and visible to all. I thank you very much for being here this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey, for that warm welcome. I now invite Professor Aman Sharma, Secretary IRA, to deliver the annual report.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, the senior IRA stalwart sitting in the front row, the foreign and the Indian faculty, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it gives me immense pleasure and I feel privileged to present the annual report of Indian Rheumatology Association for this year. As a society, we are growing from strength to strength to promote rheumatology across the country. This is the first major activity that the current EC took under the dynamic leadership of our President Dr. Dharmanand was to celebrate April 2022 as Rheumatological Diseases Awareness Month. I thank all EC members and members of the IRA family to make it a booming success. The activities range from video messages from sports icons like Olympic gold medalist Abhinav Bindra, Anil Kumble, Jeev Milkha Singh, and cine stars like Suhasini Maniratnam, Sonam Bajwa, etc., to various social media and print media activities spread across the country. This activity did create a buzz towards making common man aware about rheumatological diseases. The other activities that IRA took were 2 days awareness program on Sjogren syndrome, the World Scleroderma Day celebrations, the World Arthritis Day celebrations, wherein a slogan writing competition was held and 3 winners were announced. Over the last 1.5 years, we had 46 new members as life members joining the IRA family, and there was 1 overseas member. We welcome them to our family. And it is, I would also wish to share that the IRA house, which was brought during the tenureship of Professor Danda, was also inaugurated earlier this year when the first IRA EC meeting was held in the IRA's house in New Delhi. IRA continues to promote research. The thirst is on hand-holding and supporting the research of students, and also on cutting-edge projects which are submitted to IRA. During the current year, 9 research projects have been funded and more are being reviewed. The reviewing process and the submitting process has been streamlined. All of you are aware about that. 3 travel grants were approved this year. They were given to the IRA members who attended the international meetings. 2 rheumatology CMEs sponsored by IRA were held in different medical colleges, one in Manipal and the other one in Surat. The IRA Fellows Retreat is also planned later this year. The Indian Journal of Rheumatology is doing well with visible improvement in all parameters and domains. Dr. Vikas Agarwal, Editor-in-Chief of the IJR, with his team, worked hard for the last 3 years, as a result of which there has been significant improvement in the IJR visibility and contents. The IRA e-newsletter has both academic and extra features, brilliant features in it, and its viewership has also increased under the guidance of Professor Vinita Shobha. The tenure of Professor Vikas Agarwal and Professor Vinita Shobha comes to an end at the end of this year. On behalf of IRA, I thank both of them and their team for putting untiring efforts in taking these to new heights. The new editor-in-chiefs for both IJR and IRA newsletters have been selected. I'll be taking over as the EIC of the IJR, and Dr. Vinod Ravindran will be taking over as the EIC of the e-newsletter. The Manual of Rheumatology is also due in its new form, and it would be released very soon right here. Dr. Mishra sir has compiled new and updated information, which is practical, very crisp, and for the rheumatologist, I think it would make a very good reference for everyone, all of us. Another big achievement this year for IRA was the selection of Dr. Arvind Chopra, who was nominated as the ACR Master, and we, IRA family, feel very happy and very proud about it. IRA has achieved a lot, but sincerely more needs to be done, with the hope that next year will be even more fruitful, will bring more achievements. I wish Iracon 22 a great success. Thank you very much. So this was my secretary's report. Now I have a couple of another pleasant duties. It is my pleasant duty to announce the names of two stalwarts of Indian rheumatology who have contributed immensely to the growth of Indian Rheumatology Association, who have been conferred the IRA Masters Award this year for their immense contribution to Indian Rheumatology Association. Both the winners are Professor R. Porkodi Madam and Professor Roni Handa Sir. Please put your hand together. I would request the chief guest to kindly felicitate them. I would first request Dr. Porkodi Madam to kindly come on the dais. I will request Benzita and Avinash to accompany her. Thank you, madam, and congratulations from IRA. I would request Dr. Handa sir to please come on the dais, and Avinash and Benzita to accompany. Congratulations, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce to you the M.N. Pasi awardee this year. This is the highest award of Indian Rheumatology Association. Please put your hand together to welcome Dr. Arvind Chopra. Dr. Chopra is the Director of Center for Rheumatic Diseases, Pune. It is my privilege to read out the citation for sir while he makes his way onto the podium. He did his MBBS and MD from AFMC Pune. He was awarded the President's Gold Medal and several other awards and gold medals. We all remember how well he organized Iracon at Pune. He is the coordinator of APLA WHO COPCOD, someone who took rheumatology to the villages by organizing arthritis camps where over 20,000 patients have been examined in over 90 camps. He is the Chief Clinical Coordinator of Ayush CSIR's COVID-19 project for Ayurvedic drugs. He is the member of the Constitutional Committee for Formulation of Integrative Health Policy of India of Niti Aayog, former Chairman and National Coordinator BJD National Action Network India. He is the Executive Committee member of the OMIR Act. He has innumerable research projects, and the list of the accolades and honors is so long that it doesn't permit me to mention all. He represented India in 4-member delegations to the WHO Scientific Expert Meeting in Geneva to launch BJD 2000-2010, which was endorsed by WHO and United Nations. He was nominated by Government of India for 5 meetings of CSIR with US FDA and EMA for NMITLI derived Ayurvedic drugs and for upgradation of Ayurveda. He was the observer member WHO Scientific Expert Task Force on Diagnostic and Classification Criteria for Arthritis. As I have already alluded to, he was awarded the Master of ACR earlier this year. He has already been awarded the Master of Indian Rheumatology Association in 2019. And I request our chief guest to kindly present the M.N. Pasi Award medal and the certificate to Dr. Chopra. And I would request all of you, to put your hands together for a round of applause for Dr. Chopra, please. Congratulations, sir, and thank you very much. Okay. We can have a couple of words from sir.
Good evening, friends. I'm indeed honored. Aman has been very generous. Irrespective of where we started, but we all are reaching beautiful destinations in life. I think that's what matters. Everyone has done so well. It's wonderful to see. I mean, though there may be empty chairs today, but morning there were not many empty chairs. Thank you very much, Ira, for this wonderful honor. Punjabi te kehinde der hai durust hai. Thank you very much. I think it's been a wonderful month. Actually, before COVID, it was nice to be made the IRA Master. After COVID, ACL Master. I think God is kind. And now this very wonderful award. Won't take much time, but if Aman told me to give you people some message, I don't think you all need any message. We must encourage the physician scientist in us. I think I'm very proud to be a clinician, but I'm equally proud to be a physician scientist today when I'm introduced as one. And secondly, I think we need more original research. Wonderful reviews, analysis, all those things are very good, but some good research, the kind of research that Vidyut is spoke out in the morning, but some of us were fired up. Anyway, that's just a message. Thank you very much for this, and this is a very important honor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Professor Dharmanand, sir, for presidential address.
Good evening. I once again take this opportunity to welcome you all to Iracon 2022 and Indore. And I'm very proud to be given this opportunity to lead Indian Rheumatology Association. I stand on the shoulders, or I take under the guidance of my previous presidents. I can count about 8 presidents sitting in the, past presidents sitting in the front row, and pranams to all of them and all of you. This year, we have taken few initiatives. Rheumatology has some identity issues, and significant amount of public are not aware of the terminology rheumatology and rheumatic diseases. They are all familiar with arthritis, but rheumatology still is not a widely known terminology. So we decided that me and the entire EC has adopted April every month to be observed as Rheumatology Awareness Month, not Arthritis Awareness Month. We specifically promoted the name rheumatology, and we made a lot of celebrity videos, and thanks to our young EC members, we had a lot of social media activities. So that is one beginning. So every year we will have the whole month of April as Rheumatology and Rheumatology Diseases Awareness Month. And this year we also had very coordinated World Arthritis Day activities, which happened simultaneously over a couple of days around the World Arthritis Day, almost all over India, with multiple media and every individual also taking up the responsibility and doing it. And this year also we have taken initiative, or we have built upon the initiative taken by our past president and APLAR president about patient-physician advocacy. So we have formed a small group with patient support group leaders, and we are providing them whatever support we can do as knowledge partner, and also hand-holding them in their fight against the discrimination about the diseases, and also in their fight for their rights to get their insurance and prices of the drugs slashed. And another important aspect of rheumatological diseases is the lack of rheumatology workforce. From a small number of few hundred doctors, rheumatologists, when I joined rheumatology, we are now almost 1,500 strong society. But as Dr. Vishad was telling in the meeting in the morning, we need at least 5,000 rheumatologists to be at least sufficient. So in the absence of that many rheumatologists in the community, I think we should take the rheumatology to primary care so that the primary care physicians and general practitioners, orthopedic surgeons, who are all the stakeholders in musculoskeletal medicines, become much more familiar with rheumatic diseases and also understand the complexity of rheumatic diseases. We are making effort in this direction as well. With these few words, I once again welcome you all, and also my sincere thanks to our chief guest for agreeing to be here with us and tell few words of wisdom. And also we are proud to have our APLAR president as the guest of honor today, and also as a scientific committee chairman. So we are proud of you, Professor Danda. And with these few words, I also congratulate the organizing committee of Iracon 2022, headed by Dr. Pandey and Ashish Badika, for the wonderful conference, and happy learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dharmanand. I now invite Professor Debashish Danda to tell us a few words of wisdom.
Good evening, respected Chief Guest, Dr. Ravi Kannan, President IRA, Organizing Secretary Iracon 22, Organizing Chair, IRA Secretary Dr. Aman Sharma, dignitaries, visiting faculty from overseas and India, and participants in the Congress. Actually, I found it very strange to become a guest of honor. It's like calling the son of the house a son-in-law. So anyway, thank you for the great honor. I just say a few points, since everybody has said very important points, and as Dr. Dharmanand said that our workforce is so little. I would like to say one point in this regard, that at the rate we have number of trainees in this country, we will never meet the optimum number of rheumatologists in this country even in next 50 years. The solution to that is primary care rheumatology. And Dr. Ravi Kannan is an example, who is a highly skilled oncosurgeon who lived his whole life in Assam doing clinics in boats in villages, and when he tried to retire his villages, the local people did not let him come back to his home state, Tamil Nadu. I'm not saying that if I ask everybody in this place, not even one person will be ready to go to villages, and that may not be the solution also. Between two appointments of rheumatologists and before getting an appointment with rheumatologists, every rheumatology patient goes to a general practitioner or orthopedicians or quacks or alternative system doctors, many other unqualified people. So, is it not the best way to train them in a sensible way so that they do no harm before they reach you or between the two visits of rheumatologists, rather than waiting for 100 years or 200 years to have adequate number of rheumatologists to meet? So this is, the primary care rheumatologist should be a priority with the government, and that's what I feel. People can differ, but that's my view. About science in rheumatology, I would say I first attended Iracon in 1993 in All India Institute, Delhi, organized by Professor Malviya. And since then, in 31 years, I have seen we have grown to some extent, but we have a long way to go. The reason why the science remains not so cutting edge in our country, it's because the clinical workload leaves very little protected time for the clinicians to become clinician scientists. And government as well as many people consider research as a wastage of time. So this is something, a time to rethink that research should be part of our livelihood. So India is now moving in many aspects of social activities, and I think science in medicine also should move forward. But while doing research, what is important is that we don't often ask the right research question. I do not think the bench to bedside is the best option for India. I would say our research question should come from bedside and go to bench. What each of us observes, seeing thousands and thousands of patients, each of us experience something unique and new which is not in our textbooks or described anywhere. We should probably go from there and explore those, and that would be more relevant to our population. In addition to that, I just want to say just a minute on this scientific program. Possibly my last involvement with the Iracon, and this is something where I try to do some changes in the way the conferences are held. We try to involve absolutely fresh young rheumatologists, mid-career rheumatologists, and senior most rheumatologists in almost equal proportion. And I would like to take pride in saying that for the first time I struggled, but I tried to get almost 50% women representation to have a gender equity in the faculty distribution of this Congress. We had more than 400 posters, which is very big number for Indian Rheumatology meeting. Even in Applar, a month back, I knew only 600 posters abstracts were accepted. So that's a good success, and we have tried to involve as many people as possible to encourage the young, mid-career, and also show respect to our seniors. I think we can all move forward. The only one problem with us in India is that we are very big dreamers. We think big, we talk big, we dream big, but we act very little. And that's often not our fault, it's because of the circumstances. So I think we should create an environment where we can act big in science of rheumatology to take it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Danda. We now move on to lighting of the lamp. I invite all the dignitaries on the dais for the lamp lighting. We have the privilege of having Dr. Shrikant Wagh, who will lead us in an invocation to Dhanavantri. Dhanavantri is the god of doctors and the doctor of gods, and it is Dr. Wagh will lead us in a Dhanavantri Vandana, which is an original composition.
कमल नयन श्याम रंग पीतांबर साजे मन मोहन वस्त्रों में आदि देव बिलसे शंख चक्र जलौका घट अमृत का लिए चार भुजों से सारे दुखों से मुक्त करे जय देव जय भगवान धन्वंतरि देवा सेहत का वरदान हम सबको देना जय देव जय भगवान धन्वंतरि देवा नमामि धन्वंतरम् नमामि धन्वंतरम् सुर असुरों के सागर मंथन से आए अमृत का घट भर कर संजीवन लाए, भय दुख दूर करे जरा मृत्यु हारे, मन का और तन का स्वास्थ्य हमें देना। जय देव जय भगवन धन्वंतरि देवा, सेहत का वरदान हम सबको देना। जय देव जय भगवन धन्वंतरि देवा। नमामि धन्वंतरि, नमामि धन्वंतरि। शास्त्रों का ज्ञान और अनुभव कर्मों का हो, तर्क और बुद्धि से तत्पर सेवा हो। दक्ष रहे सत्य कहे, निर्मल उदार संयत हो। आशीर्वच हमको श्रीकांत संग देना। जय देव जय भगवन धन्वंतरि देवा, सेहत का वरदान हम सबको देना। जय देव जय भगवन धन्वंतरि देवा। नमामि धन्वंतरिं, नमामि धन्वंतरिं, नमामि धन्वंतरिं।
Indeed, it was very beautiful, and now I would take the opportunity to invite respected Chief Guest Sir, Dr. Ravi, to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for inviting me to be a small part of this meeting. I think for any professional, any doctor, the highest form of recognition is that comes from one's own colleagues, one's own teachers, and one's peers. And so I consider this an honor, a privilege to be here. Thank you. I work in a town called Silchar, which is in the southern part of Assam, to the east of Bangladesh. We have to cross the entire stretch of Bangladesh to get to Silchar. Just as a curiosity, daybreak happens first in Silchar before Dhaka. But Dhaka strikes 6 o'clock first before Silchar does, because the time zones are different. Though we are to the east of Bangladesh, our time zones are those of the west of Bangladesh. Just a curiosity. Like other places in the country, we also have our share of difficult geography. Areas, forests and hills. There are hill tracks, forest tracks. It rains a lot of the year. And so travel is a problem. There are many areas where there is no road transport possible. We have to walk and walk and walk. And when people fall sick, when a woman goes into labor unexpectedly, they fashion a hammock on a bamboo log, and then two people will carry her across the whole terrain till the nearest motorable road. And so these are challenges. There are other parts of the country which face similar or more obnoxious challenges, I'm sure. The hospital that I work was actually formed by lay citizens in the 1980s, 1990s. The nearest cancer hospital was more than 350 kilometers away. And so lay citizens got together. Incidence of cancer in the region is very high because of a variety of lifestyle factors. And so lay citizens got together, formed a cancer society. They sought support from different corners, from politicians, from the government, and they actually put up a hospital. And when the hospital was, I happened to be there quite by accident. I used to work at the Cancer Institute at Chennai for many years. When the cancer hospital in Silchar was founded, their former director, Dr. Chinmoy Chaudhary, visited a number of cancer centers And he spent 3 months with us, and thereafter used to refer patients regularly for care. And when I left the Cancer Institute, I left fit of hot blood, young arrogance, I left overnight without a plan B. And so Dr. Chaudhary called me one day asking what happened, asking that he wanted to send a patient across. I said, I'm no longer there, but you go ahead and refer. And he said, oh, what are you doing? Several of us had left at that time, and we had formed a sort of loose group practice. And he said, no, you must come there. And our response was, no, bomb blasts and floods, we don't want to go anywhere near Assam. But they would keep calling week after week after week. So my wife, my daughter who was in class 4, and I went to visit Silchar. We spent a week there. My daughter was in a school that had no exams. And my wife was working in the USEFI. She was a regional officer at USEFI. And when we went there, I spent time in the hospital. The society members took her around the community. We went visiting schools. And every school we went, the principals were so supportive. Doctor, come, your daughter will get admission. She doesn't know Hindi, she doesn't know Bangla, she doesn't know Assamese. No, doctor, kids will pick up very fast. Before we went back, my wife said, there's a lot of need here. Maybe this is what we should be doing. And when we went back, she initiated the discussion in both our homes. Both sets of parents thought the kids have gone mad. They didn't want us to go, very clearly. My friends in the group practice were dead against the idea. They thought it was professional harakiri. But again, we just moved. And it is now, this is our 16th year, and I really don't know where the time fled. Our patients are all, poor patients, and while at the institute, all that I learned in medicine, my philosophy in oncology, is what I learned at the Cancer Institute from Dr. Krishnamurthy and Dr. Shanta. And we were told that every patient must be treated whether they can pay or not. And so we went with the same philosophy to Silchar. We really did not have a roadmap. When I talk about it now, it looks as if we had a roadmap and we just implemented it. Actually, we were just firefighting all along. We continue to firefight even today. Sort out a problem, put in place a process, and move on. So we started off giving, low cost or no cost treatment, boarding, lodging, and we thought everything should be happening fine. Till 3 years down the line, we had to make a presentation on palliative care for an organization that was supporting us. And when we looked at our data, we found that about 30% of our patients came back for oral morphine. And all of you know, morphine is a key drug in palliative care. So when we went to that meeting, I actually made a statement, only 30% of patients come back for palliative care. But people who are being treated with intent to cure, they're getting treatment for free, they're having boarding, they're all doing very well. Even as I made that statement, I realized that's a statement I had not verified. When I came back, I requested Amit, my colleague in the registry, to look at what is happening. And he came back and told me that for every 100 patients that walk into the OPD, 58 patients do not come back for a second visit. And out of those that start treatment, 28 of them complete treatment, which means all that we were doing was a bogus, was fraud. We were not making any difference to anybody's lives. And we kept wondering what is happening. And we realized most of our patients are daily wage earners. They push rickshaws, they buy fish, they repair boats, but it's a daily wage earning. And cancer treatment takes forever. Chemotherapy 6 months, radiation 2 months. By the time everything is over and their fatigue and everything subsides, it's more than a year gone by. And for daily wage earners, if they have to come for themselves or for a family member, it's a no way, it's not going to happen. And often they make a cruel decision that this person has to die because the rest of the family has to eat. And so we were very naive, very simplistic. We said, oh, we will provide them daily wage, we'll provide them ad hoc employment. Initially we thought we will have paper making, tailoring, and then we realized these people have no skills. And so we started offering unskilled employment on campus, and we started giving appointments to every patient who came to the hospital. And so if I open today's list, I have a name list of 100 people, and as I see their names disappear, left behind are the people who have not come back. We get on the phone, we call. There is a problem with phone calls also, SIM numbers change, but nonetheless we get back to every single patient and see what has happened. Didi, you have not come back for treatment, come, we will help you. And so we started putting in place a number of pro-poor strategies. We said there will be a one-time payment for consultation. After that, for a lifetime, no charge. For dental services, for for everything, we reduced costs. We avoided duplicating costs. We avoided hidden costs. And we started fast forwarding all our target is patient comes today. The same day the blood biochemistry must be done. The next day morning, the biopsy, endoscopies are done. In the afternoon, they have their imaging. And when they come back in the evening, all our pathology works on frozen sections. So I do a mastectomy. By the time the last stitch is applied, the report is ready. The nodes are dissected out. The number of nodes positive is there. The margins are there. Necrosis is there. The response to chemotherapy, everything is on frozen section except for some very few situations. And so our target is by the next day evening, the patient's diagnosis, staging and treatment plan must be ready. And then they will go back home to decide and come back, but we want to fast forward everything as possible. And then another event happened that changed my thoughts further. So we did a Whipple's procedure on a patient, and patient had regular post-op problems. He needed some albumin or something, I don't remember something. I called his wife, told him he needs something. She said, "Aap de do, sir, you go ahead and give the medicine, I will pay you when I take him home." 10 days later, the pathology report is ready, he's node positive. So I call her, he needs chemotherapy. So I call her and tell her, your husband has a disease which has spread to lymph nodes and he may benefit by chemotherapy. She falls at my feet sobbing, "Discharge kar do, I want to take the patient home." She falls at the feet of the nurse, the administrative officer, everybody who she sees, "Discharge, discharge." I said, "Okay, discharge." My pharmacist colleague, Debu, tells me that we have drugs that we can give it to her without charge. Okay, shall I tell her? Tell her. When Debu told her, she starts sobbing. She didn't have that, those days I think albumin was some 5,000 rupees or 3,500 rupees. So she didn't have 3,500 rupees. So she had a 7-year-old son. She pledged the son to a village landlord for 2 years for 5,000 rupees. That day, just coincidentally, that boy has called from somewhere. He's been made to fetch water from far away. She's from Tripura, one of the hills in Tripura, and so his chest hurts. He does not know he's been sold to the landlord. And so she wants to just take her, and all my hair stood out, This happened, maybe not directly because of us, because of us. Immediately I said, "Give her the money back." She would not touch the money. We were all righteous anger, call the SP, call the DC, but she would not budge. Then, subsequently thinking, I realized that she has to go back and live in the same village. And if that landlord, she quarrels with the landlord, her daily living, we don't know if the man will live or die. But she was there for a few more days. We gave her the money. The landlord must have been a kind man. He released the boy. The boy actually came to see me. But look at the tragedy. 9 months later, that man developed metastatic disease and died. And so, we realized this brought a very hard fact to our knowledge, that patients are afraid of our hospitals. Many of them do not. Somebody said, that in rheumatology, if a patient disappears between the first treatment and the second treatment, we've lost the game. Same thing happens in cancer also. Patients are afraid to come to us. They will not come to the hospital because they think all their property will be lost. And so we then changed all our strategies. We said, we have to be pro-poor, but we have to brand ourselves as pro-poor. And so everything that we do must reflect our poor support policies. The way we look, no fountains, no marble, no paintings. We are a clean facility, but we are not a fancy facility. The way we approach patients, when patients talk to us, every one of us must convey that empathy. And so we put in a lot of effort, as a team, all of us talking the same language, making sure. And so over a period of time, what was 30%, now about 60-65%, even now 30-40% of patients don't complete treatment. The other thing that happened, that just because we are treating poor patients doesn't mean we provide poor quality care. That would be fraud. And so we need infrastructure. After the first 4 or 5 years, slowly we were able to build support. CSR and different society, Indian Cancer Society started supporting us for chemotherapy, NM Budrani Trust. So different agencies talking, asking people. And over a period of time, we now have a support system. Patient walks into the OPD. One of our biggest challenges was we have support, especially with the onset of Atal Amrit and PMJY. We have support to treat a large number of patients. But none of these agencies will support the initial investigations and diagnostic stage. And that is a stage when the patient needs the maximum amount of hand holding. He walks into the hospital, initial blood biochemistry, endoscopy, biopsy, CT scans will cost about, I don't know, 10,000 bucks. And so at that point of time, if the patient is not supported, he or she will fall through the cracks. And so now we have built in a system where every patient who walks in, you know, we have social workers, and we make sure that everybody is supported, no matter anybody comes and says they are poor. Our idea is that, you know, we must accept. Earlier there used to be a huge argument in the hospital. I'm surrounded by younger colleagues who would keep telling me, everybody comes and cries to you, you say free, but they have money. But when we started home visits, as part of palliative care, we started a home visit program. And when we visit people's homes, you know, we see for ourselves, you know, their barren lives. Yet happily they will offer you puri. You can neither eat it because their kids will be starving, nor can you refuse because you will hurt them. And so for first hand we realize, you know, poverty is not manufactured, it is a reality of life. And so today the whole team is on the same page. Anybody says they are hard of resources, we just accept it and move on to see how it can be done. Then human resources, another very big problem in far-flung areas of the country. And so, you know, when I joined, we were only 20 members strong team, and today we are almost 450 members strong. But then I had 6 nurses, none of them was formally trained. They were all dais who worked in some nursing homes learning to deliver babies. And my center forward in the theater, operating theater, was a dai. But they are all very keen to learn, and a lot of my staff are actually trained in hospital. And now, you know, over the years, when I had the first A&M join, we celebrated, and when the first GNM nurse joined, we actually had a thing. But now, you know, things have changed over a period of time, slowly one by one, but all my colleagues are amazing people, studs, you know, and none of this would happen if it were not good, strong teamwork thing. But all of this is in the past. This past is not going to take us forward ahead. So what happens in the future? So one of the things that we are totally convinced is, it is health promotion. You know, for a country like India, talking of screening is of no value. But we can talk of early detection. Many cancers have symptoms which are ignored for a very long time. And then all cancers, most 70-80% of cancers in the country are caused by tobacco, alcohol, poor diet, lack of physical activity, some infection and inflammations. If we take care of these 5 reasons, a lot of cancers will be prevented, but more importantly, cardiovascular diseases, strokes, diabetes, hypertension, COPD, peripheral, whole lot of NCDs will be prevented if we address the same 5 reasons. In other words, cancer prevention is actually health promotion. And so we are out in the community. Initially we were doing a lot of knee-jerk camps. We abandoned all of that. And we started working with the ICMR. We actually ran a screening program, an early detection program in the community in Dholai. And we examined the government of India had issued a guidelines saying that ASHA will mobilize community members to come to a sub-center where the A&M will see them. But the math doesn't work in that way. Each ASHA takes care of 1,000 people, whereas an A&M takes care of 10,000 people. And A&M screening will never work because they have other responsibilities. So we tweaked the rules a little bit, and we said we will train the ASHA to do initial evaluation at home. We didn't call it screening. We said we will teach them to identify a normal cervix and an abnormal cervix, a normal breast and abnormal, normal oral, what is normal and what is abnormal. And then we gave them tablet questionnaires. Many of them don't know how to read and write. So we put pictorial representation on the tablet. Many of the ASHA couldn't even handle a tablet. And so one of their relatives or a daughter or a son would do it. We were happy with that. We ran a program in Dholai, and the entire program was conducted in the homes of the population. Generally, screening programs don't have a compliance of more than 40%. But here, the compliance was more than 90% because the whole thing happened in their homes. And so at the end of the day, we picked up a whole lot of, we saw about 50,000 people, and we picked up about 200 cancers, pre-cancers. But more importantly, we picked up about 4,000 people with diabetes and or hypertension. And then we had to follow them up to make sure that they got their required cancers. We took care, but diabetes and hypertension, they have to go to the PHCs to make sure their treatment completes. At the end of it, we realized while the compliance was good, we were able to look at all these people. It's a lot of labor-intensive work, lot of finance, resource-intensive work. So what we did is, in Hailakandi, a neighboring district, we said if we create intense awareness using the same ASHA, Will it change the outcomes? Will people be motivated to self-refer themselves for evaluation? And so that's exactly what it did in Hailakandi. It's currently ongoing. We are same demographics, and we are finding the results are not yet mature, but we are seeing it in absolute numbers. We are seeing smaller number of people, but the returns in terms of positive diagnosis for cancer or any of the other NCDs is much higher. And so I'm very excited, because I think if we manage to create awareness about diseases, more importantly about the resources available for people to go and get evaluated and treated. See, that is a bigger issue. I think we will be able to get good outcomes. Dima Hasao is a neighboring district which is all hills and forests. And there we are looking at a different model. We are saying we will use the same ASHA to do awareness, but we will run a traveling cancer clinic. You know, there are 65 sub-centers, and even if we do 2 or 3 sub-centers a week, in a year we should have gone to each of these sub-centers at least twice in the year. And so we are looking at Dima Hasao. We run the hospital registry for population registry for Dima Hasao, and they have a population of 3 lakhs, and they report 50 cancers. They should ideally be, Indian average is 100 per 100,000. For a population of 3 lakhs, we should see about 300 cancers, whereas we are reporting only 50 of them, which means, you know, a large number of them are either undiagnosed or untreated. And so we are hoping to change this. The other thing that we have started doing as a team, you know, is what we called a PEP program. Right? We run a very active home care program, and for home care, when people go and finish for palliative care, when the palliative care work is up, the whole mohalla descends on them to see what is happening. So we're saying we must teach the community the same awareness program. These are captive audiences that come because somebody is sick in the community. And so we are going through this public awareness program, and we are picking up people through a PEP program as well. The other thing we are very passionate about is technology. So we don't have, like rheumatologists, we don't have critical care specialists in our area. And so we put these high definition cameras in our ICU. We have a team of critical care specialists working in Bangalore. Every patient is seen 24/7 by a doctor, a nurse, a physio from Bangalore. And they're actually able to coordinate with our ground staff in the ICU. Patient had a colorectal surgery. 3-4 days later, something went wrong. Patient was going to arrest. The physician on the cloud actually was able to warn the nurse. Patient arrested, patient was revived. 5 minutes later, patient had a second cardiac arrest. Revived a second time, connected to a ventilator. 5 days later, patient arrested a third time. Revived a third time, patient went home. Last week, I saw the patient in the OPD on follow-up. This is about 7-8 months down the line. And so we are very passionate about technology. You know, it has the ability to change lives of people, you know, far removed from where a specialist is sitting. The other thing, I also think, you know, there must be, we've done a lot. We are working with the community. We are trying to build these communities for health. We are trying to do many things, but all of this has to continue. And so as an organization, as a team, we're looking at building the second level of leadership. I'm looking at change of leadership in the hospital, in the organization. And so we sat down as a team and wrote down our core values: patient centricity, pro-poor, gratitude, you know, compassion. What are our core values? And then we are now, while we know what our core values are, every time we have a problem, we ask, does this resonate with any of our core values? We are also learning and teaching each other to transmit these core values to the next generation, to people who will take over from us. And so, you know, things continue. We sat, not long ago, we sat and wrote down our vision statement, which I think will apply to doctors of all shades. Any doctor of any stream will probably resonate with our vision statement. You know, we want to become an organization that will be able to prevent every cancer that can be prevented, that will ensure that everybody gets the treatment he or she deserves without reference to the payment capacity, that will ensure that nobody will die because of indignity and trauma caused by cancer, and that will ensure that no family is brought out into the streets because of treatment-induced expenses. I don't know if this will happen in my lifetime, in our lifetimes, but someday this will definitely happen. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Kannan, for those inspiring words. I now request the President of IRA to felicitate the chief guest and the guest of honor. I now request our chief guest to release the IRA manual and the souvenir.
We would request all the dignitaries to join, and I would like to call Ramnath Mishra sir on the stage to release the manual.
So we have a pleasant duty before we end, release our manual and our souvenir.
We would also request respected chief guests and dignitaries to release the souvenir. Thank you. Now it's time to call Dr. Ashish, the organizing secretary, on stage.
A very good evening to all of you. I have been assigned job for vote of thanks. So I feel honored and privileged to get the opportunity to propose vote of thanks on this special occasion. Before I start my vote of thanks, I would like to share our journey of Iracon. So going back in times, we had got the opportunity to host Iracon in 2020. However, pandemic derailed everything. Till the end of 2021, we were not sure whether it will happen or not. But slowly we gathered confidence and we planned for Iracon in December 2022. Finally, with the blessings of Almighty and well-wishers at the beginning, with the new hope, we could pull off this in 2022, and so the wheels start rolling many months in advance. The journey started with innumerable meetings with our committee members, which initially went for months, and at the last it went for weeks, and slowly we were meeting every day. So the last few months have been very taxing, but with the constant support from our family and friends and our well-wishers, we could pull this event. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by the team of very motivated and dedicated fellow colleagues and volunteers. I cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they have shown and the willingness they have expressed to take the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. I would also like to thank Dr. Ravi Kannan sir, who graced us with the presence on this occasion. Your work is really inspiring for us. Thank you for coming all the way from Assam. I would like to thank my wife, my kids and my mother for bearing with me absence and tantrums for last 1 year. Special thanks to my mentor and guide, Dr. Debashish Danda sir. His constant help and guidance always radiated a source of energy with all of us. We will ever remain grateful to you and we thank you for being always with us. Dr. V.P. Pandey sir, as organizing chairman, has always been very supportive for our team throughout this journey. I am also very thankful to IRA President Dharmanand sir and Secretary Dr. Aman Sharma sir have been always supportive, and their answer was always yes. They never said no to me. I would like to thank my colleague from CMC Vellore for sparing their time and helping me throughout this seamlessly. Dr. Avinash Jain, I requested almost 20 days back, and he helped us for stage management in all the halls. I would also like to thank past organizing secretary, as I was bugging them every other day for asking them many things, and they were never irritated. They helped me out and my planning and execution. As we say that any conference is not successful without delegates. So on behalf of organizing committee, I would like to thank all the honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence. Deep regards and hearty thankful to them. Also, all the invited speakers and faculty, I would like to honor them. Thanks. Special thanks to the pharma industry, our event organizer, and again I would like to thank organizing team for all their help. Have a wonderful stay at Indore. Enjoy the scientific feast and hospitality. Thank you very much all.
Today happens to be his wedding anniversary day. We'll all wish him.
Thank you, Dr. Badika. I request all of you to please stand for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे